Hello and welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Madingor. With us in the program right here at Jonglei, Bor Freedom Square is General Gabriel Jonglei Markol, former Chief of Defense Forces, South Sudan Defense Forces. He has been helping the community cope with the devastating floods that have been happening in the last few days. He's been helping with the dike and he's one of the elders in this community, and it's a pleasure to welcome him to the program. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Madinga.
How are you?
I'm fine, yes.
So as we can see, the background around us here is water everywhere, and that's the reason you have been here. Tell us what has been happening in your community.
Yes, water is life, but when it becomes excessive, it is a disaster, which is manageable by the people. 2 weeks ago, this town experienced much of water flowing from the south to the north. And as you could see, the center of the city of the town was affected, and it kept people in a hurry and scary. But with resilience, people put their efforts together and try to manage the water.
Tell me about the efforts that are being put into containing this much water. Tell me what has been happening with the dike and what has been your role.
The dike was checked from numerous locations or points, and south of the town from Pan Machor, Pan Apet, Pan Liet, and Malwal Chas as well, and Tonbor. But people converge on the dike to fix the affected points.
Your images have been going out on social media, and people want to know how did you find yourself working on the dike? You are a prominent person in the Republic of South Sudan, former CDF. How did you become involved with this kind of communal activity?
Well, there are two characters in citizenship. One is that you can become a nationalist. Second, you can be patriotic. And at this juncture, when I was caught in the open by the water together with the people of Bor particularly and General of Jonglei, I was not different from them, so I had to join hands together with them and try to fix what every South Sudanese, a citizen, should do, because a citizen has the right and responsibilities.
There are many people who don't know the situation in Jonglei State. How bad is the situation up to now? The national government has not declared it as a disaster zone, or a state of emergency has not been declared. How bad is the situation?
It is really bad in terms of humanitarian, Comrade Mading, and if, as you could see, the women, children, and elderly people are affected. They lost everything. There's nothing you could find, and as you have seen, many homes are affected and are submerged. So diseases are also expected, plus shortage of food.
This place where we stand is iconic in every way. It's called Freedom Square, and there were flurry of activities here, football games and any other activities, and now it's completely dead. What will it take to wake it up and bring it back to life?
This will take a lot of time and a lot of efforts to drain this water out of the Freedom Square. First of all is to seal off the town from flooding again, and especially fixing the points that were affected by the water, and then try to pump out the water.
As a concerned person in the community, what action would you recommend right now? What is one thing you would like to change immediately?
First thing is to stop water and then provide humanitarian assistance.
General Gabriel Jonglei, thanks for coming to Fixing South Sudan. And joining us is Honorable Mabur Atim Mabur, Secretary General, Jonglei State and Acting Governor. Welcome, how are you?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Fix South Sudan.
So tell us about where we are and what has been happening in your community.
Where we are, this is what we call Freedom Square. And this is a square or a ground where we used as a government to perform different activities here, and social programs are also done here. But unfortunately today, we can't really recognize the areas. So water, man.
Everywhere is water, and there has been displacement. There's a lot of needs in your community. Give me a situational analysis about what's happening in your community.
What is happening here is a real crisis that I called a couple months ago when the rain started here in Bo Town. We had a big dike which has connected the entire town from the river bank. And when the rain started, River Nile received amount of water which it could not hold. And as a result, it forced the dike was constructed years ago by the Korean contingent. And that had broken because of force from water. And because of that, Bo Town has experienced a big amount of water everywhere, as you can see, including the place that we are standing.
It's not just a big amount of water, but homes have been totally washed away, and the residents are no longer in their natural habitats. People are going hungry. People need new locations. How bad is the situation?
It is really bad. As you can see, a lot of people are displaced in their homes. That is the actual situation here. Homes are smashed, as you can see them, as a result of flooding. A lot of waterborne diseases are affecting the population here in Bo Town, and this is a real crisis. People are trying to migrate where they think it could potentially help them, maybe to save their dear lives and stuff. This is what is happening here.
Jonglei State is not just Bo Town alone. Give me a total picture of what is happening in the state.
What is happening here in the state is not only Bo Town, which experienced the flooding we are talking about here. It is entire town, entire state. When you go to Duke is heavily affected the same way Bo Town is affected. You come to East, the same is happening there. The flooding, people are being displaced. Everyone is now running from that end to here, thinking Bo Town is only the surface heaven, which is not the case here. So population in Bo Town is actually running away from here to where they think it is a little bit better. And as you can see, a lot of boat being, a reserve here from here to Juba, and from Juba to maybe Nimili and all of that. So everyone is kind of running away from here because of what we are seeing here, crisis about the flooding.
Everyone is affected, and what are your immediate priorities?
Okay, go ahead.
What do you want to be done first?
Okay, what we want to be done first is making sure the water flow is stopped. And we have been doing this, by the way. Let me just acknowledge the effort that my youth of Jonglei State have been exerting in ensuring the water is stopped. We have been working on the dike for the entire couple months ago, and even today. The youth are working on the dike, women and guys, boys and girls, they're working on the dike to ensure the water is stopped. And that's the first priority. When the water is stopped now, it will provide an opportunity for the people who are displaced from their homes to be able to return back to their home and resume their normal life. So water is the one to be stopped first, and then we are calling for humanitarian agencies to be coming in and provide the possible assistance to these IDPs.
There are those who are temporarily displaced. Where are you housing them? Are there any specific points? Are they moving on their own, or is there any organized scheme?
Yeah, since I said when the flood, entered town, I recommended all these schools and churches which were a little bit raised. I recommended for the IDPs to be sheltering there, and this is what is happening now. So most of the people whose homes are completely destroyed, they are currently now taking shelter in schools and churches, and of course some raised ground.
And what are you doing as far as their feeding is concerned?
What we're doing as far as feeding is concerned, we are also donating some food in the capacity of the government, but we are also urging our partners here in the state through our RRC coordination office to also do the same, and they've been doing that. Although the needs are so, staggering and so amazing.
Earlier you were thanking the youth and their efforts. What have you learned from your community in the last few days that people have been pulling together and doing one thing?
What I've learned from my community is the spirit of resilience, man. People are so resilient here, and youth are so committed. People are so dedicated to help themselves before the outsiders could come in and help them. And that's the spirit that I've learned. And in doing so, we're going to be a good people here if we can work for ourselves.
And in this program, we speak of fixing South Sudan. And South Sudan begins in a place like Jonglei State. What will it take to fix Jonglei State and then South Sudan?
Fixing Jonglei State and fixing South Sudan is the same. When we fix Jonglei, it means that we are also fixing South Sudan. And youth of this nation, they are seeing the only way we can really move this country forward, or perhaps their own state, is by fixing, working to make sure what is supposed to be done in the state is done by youth and is done by every person. And that requires their commitment and putting resources that we have.
Secretary General, Government, Jonglei State, and Acting Governor, thanks for coming to the program.
Thank you.
And with us at Freedom Square, Jonglei State, is Engineer Nyal Majang Nyal, former Mayor of Jonglei State, of Bor Town, Bor Municipal Council, and also former Deputy Mayor of Juba Municipal Council. It's a pleasure to welcome him to this program. Welcome to the program.
All right, thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm good.
So tell us what has been happening and what has been your role.
So actually, what had been happening in Bor, it's something that you can see. Medan Horia Betana, what we call Freedom Square, is flooded, and maybe half of the town is also taken by water. So that is actually the water flush from the Nile.
And what would you like to tell South Sudanese about what is happening in Jonglei State?
Actually, what is happening here is an example of what we find most of the seasons, but for this year it's an outlier. And I want our people to learn from this crisis, because we got early warning as early as late April and early May that there's going to be high flooding, and this is what has happened. So next time I hope we'll be in readiness in areas that are going to be affected by the floods, like Bor Town. So we need to be ready, and this is what has just happened.
And what is the impact of the floods that you have been seeing? What would you like to change?
Massive displacement of the population, destructions of the properties, and also human life and animals are affected, and especially people down north are going to suffer more than the people to the south of this town.
And what needs to be done to wake up the spirit of this city where you were mayor? If you can jettison back to the days when you were mayor of this town, what is one thing that is missing right now?
Actually, what is missing right now is the fact that we as a people, some people are thinking that they should migrate, other than having a mentality to defend the city. So we want the citizen, and we want to commend the efforts of the youth and the leadership of the town, that they have combined their hand. Very few people are working on the dike, and we want the citizen to work and make sure that they defend the city, because this is a natural disaster. It can only be averted by human effort. And also our government also need to come in and help in averting the humanitarian crisis, because what is happening here is a humanitarian disaster, and we need our government, our partners, to come over and help the people of Bor and people of Greater Jonglei to recover from this devastation.
Honorable Engineer Nyal Majang Nyal, thanks for coming to the program.
Thank you very much.
Is Ms. Ayao Deng Kudum, who is a former Miss South Sudan contestant or winner, and also a philanthropist, someone who cares about what has been going on in the community. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So you came yesterday and your goal was to come and see for yourself what has been happening. What can you tell us about the situation in Jonglei State?
I'm so emotional right now because what I'm seeing is really disaster. Elder people, they're just everywhere. There's a lot of water, the houses have been destroyed, demolished by rains, and there's no place, no food, basic need. And as you can see now, there's still more water, even where we're standing.
You have been able to speak to some of these displaced people. What are you hearing? What are they telling you?
The major concern, most of the people, they think that Bor Town is much better than these areas. Like people of Matiang today, I talked to them, and they were expecting Mading is dry place, and they don't even have food. Most of these people, they've been crying, like some of them, they don't even know where their kids are, and they don't have shelter. There's no food, there's no clothes, there's no blanket, there's nothing.
And those stories have been moving you. You have donated a bull to these displaced people. Why did you do that?
I feel it's my duty as a citizen of South Sudan and the daughter of Jonglei state. And I'm calling out for all the Jonglei people and our government also. This is a national disaster. It's not only something that we should just smile at it. And I'm calling also the concerned NGOs to come in and help people of Jonglei state to evacuate the people who are displaced by the flood to grounded place.
And on your social media, you have been doing fundraising. What would you like to be done right now in the community?
The community has to support the youth who are actually controlling the flooding of the rains, because there's more, as we can see, like it has been a week now, and youth need support. There's no food, and also we need the government also to give them the support. This is the time for emotional support, and that's why some of us made it here. Like if we just sit and just watch, something need to be done.
And moving beyond these floods, where the way you see the community, the massive displacement, and we speak about fixing South Sudan in such kind of a program, what do you want to be done to make sure South Sudan is better than it is?
In a short term, as I said before, our people need to be evacuated to high ground place. And the long term, as my opinion, honest opinion, there's a desert between greater Jonglei state and Bibor administrative. We can actually create the lake, man-made lakes. It will help to carry out the water from the river Nile, and also the river, like the flooding we are facing now is the condition of Lake Victoria and river Niles. And Jonglei state is been expected, and it has made it to be an productive place, and also it has become a security issue.
What would you like to tell people like you who care about what's happening in the community, but they are not able to come here? What is your message to the community of Jonglei where they are, and also to South Sudan?
It's much better when you are here, you feel as part of it, and you feel the pain, and actually to encourage them that there's people who are concerned about them.
Thank you very much for coming to the show. With us is youth leader Akenya Jinuruk. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good.
It's a pleasure to have you tell us about the flooding that has been happening. What is the situation right now?
Both town now is in severe hardship due to the flood with the water from the river Nile. So there has been a massive displacement of the civilian in town. And they are in a chaotic situation because they have lacked basic needs. They have no homes to sleep. They got no tents. So the issue of mosquito has, when there's water, there must be mosquito. So they lack a lot of things. As you know that when you left your own house, you face a lot of challenges outside.
And as the leader of the youth, what have been your own efforts, and what do you like to say about the situation here?
There has been a dike built six years ago, but it wasn't maintained well by the government. So that dike was broken when the floods came. So we mobilized the youth to go and fix the dike. All along, we almost have 3 weeks doing that. So we are not been resting all along because we used to be at the site working because we don't know people to leave this town. As you have seen that there are people who are evacuating this town, but we are voluntarily working for them so that they will not leave this town.
The name Bor means a place that gets flooded. So there's been a long-term problem with water. How do we contain water so that, as they say, water is life? How do we make sure it's not life-threatening?
Yeah, of course, this one need a long-term plan. As you know that bore mean water, because this is a place that gets flooded when there's rain anytime. So what we need is to, at least we should build a water reservoir. Once there's a flood, when there's a flood, the water will be able to flow into that water reservoir. Or we can see how we can make a modern dikes so that our people should be prevented from the flood.
And what would you like to see going forward, the immediate humanitarian needs that have to be met? And in terms of development, as you represent the youth are majority in this state, what should be done to engage them?
Yeah, actually, we had called upon all the humanitarian, all the well-wishers to help us all along, because as we know now, this dike needs maintenance. So we need, at least we should have incubator, so that we should be supporting the incubator at the other side. When there's a small flood, should be done by the people. So when we asked for the request, we didn't get it. So we are still appealing to the whole world and to the people of South Sudan to come in large numbers, in huge numbers, so they could come and help this vulnerable civilian in town who cannot help themselves.
And what do you say to the new governor of Jonglei State and also to the government of the Republic of South Sudan?
Yeah, I want to tell the governor and the government of South Sudan alike that they should also recognize the capacity of the youth, because the little population that we have now in town, if youth were not the one doing it, these people wouldn't have been here. So the youth now, they're capable of governing this state, of defending this state from water. So this is why we want to tell people that the youth are capable to do anything. They have potentials to do something in this state. And good now that a young person, we need him to come and work with the youth so that he will deliver what he has in mind, and also we should give him what we have also, so that we develop this state.
In this program, we speak of fixing South Sudan. What do we do to fix Jonglei State and South Sudan at large?
The issue, we should have a master plan, because now we have realized that sometimes we don't have a plan to our people, because people just work assuming the responsibilities and they don't have the plans. And then later, the plan would be the guideline to the people, to the politicians, to the leaders. But people always don't have programs. They don't have anything. They don't have an idea. When they come, they just come leadership. You cannot get all the plan on the table. It is you to think for the people. And the future plan and the life of the people is at the hand of the leaders.
Kenya Jinruk, thanks for coming to Fixing South Sudan. And that brings us to the end of our program at Freedom Square, Bor, Jonglei State, speaking about flooding with various speakers.